You are now tuned in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast.
It's the KKP on your mother flipping airways. Hear the name ringing through the halls and the stairways. You were listening to a pod that can segue. All the latest topics guaranteed to fill your headspace. It's a safe place to voice your opinion. Say what you feel just like you're a kid again. Kid to pro and friends, black as obsidian. Chaotic culture, that's the world we living in. So what's the word?
And good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, about where chaos rules and black culture is supreme. The Chaotic Culture Podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod. Please be sure that you subscribe to the Patreon for as little as $2 a month to get bonus episodes, content, and of course, to help keep the lights on. Once again, we appreciate your support. If you have never seen an episode before, of course, this podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha can navigate the crazy parts from finances, black business highlights, black professionals, community content creators, home ownership, HBCU sports, black nerddom, anime, wrestling, black artists, and especially black music. If it encompasses black culture, we are going to cover it. And live from the 410, I am the host and the creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This is your boy, Ked the Pro, aka the Calculator Millennial, aka the Encore Presentation.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more?
AKA your favorite toxic adjacent king. Ked the poet, Ked the closer, all that good shit. 843 is me. Baltimore's the place to be. Always chaotic, never toxic on most days. And back again, once again, with your favorite black culture highlights and black culture shenanigans. For the first time in about 3 years, I have a returning guest here. Last time that you heard us on this podcast, we were discussing something in the water when they had it in that weird year in DC before they went back to Virginia. So it was my absolute pleasure to bring him back this time to talk a little bit about a project that he's been working on and is getting ready to release. For those who remember, I'm just going to say this is my boy F.U.N.D.Y. F.U.N.D.Y, please go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? You know, you're my brother. So, KJ, this is my brother, KJ. We both HU alumni, the real
Yep,
HU, of course, the only one,
the
Hampton
only one.
University. Make some noise for Hampton University. You already know. But my name is Fundy. I'm an artist. I by profession I'm a pharmacist, but I've been working on music, which has been my passion for years. Just trying to find my sound, get everything sounding the way that I hear it in my head. And over the last about year, I've found my team, and we've since damn, I think about March, I did a big music retreat back in El Paso, Texas, in February,
Mhm.
and I found my team, my engineer up in Jersey, Corey Zach, Cocoon Studios, and his assistant Jordan. They are my team for my project that is slated to release on Halloween, called Fun. So I listen. We just had a release party, a listening party for it on Saturday, which KJ came to, and you
Yep.
know it was a blast, man. It was like it's surreal. Everything that I had been thinking about, all the visions like I've been having in the past, it's like everything's coming to fruition, and my dreams are really becoming reality now.
Hey, that's what's up, man. That is what's up. First and foremost, I'm glad to have you back on this platform. Is always good to hear from you, and it's always a good time every time I'm around. But like anytime that we do something like this, we always like get into the nitty gritty of music. So that's another reason why I definitely wanted to bring you back up, not only because of the project that you're working on, but just to poke around in your mind a bit and find out what inspired you. But before we get into that, first and foremost, as always, when we begin these episodes, we always want to do a mental health check to see how we are doing because life is life, and
Yeah,
with us being at this point fully grown adults, and both of us were in our mid to late teens and 20s when we first met at HU, and now here we are in our 30s, and we're just like, damn, life changes and life happens. So I just wanted to ask, man, how's your mental health been these last year, last few months, whatever you want to speculate, and then if there's something that is too overbearing, you don't have to share it as always. But if you don't mind sharing what's been going on, then I ask that just do what you can.
Yeah, man. I just turned 30 back in January, so that that was a big that was a big event. I think the last year itself really it has been it's been challenging, but it's showed a lot of growth. It's just having conflicts with friends, trying to figure it out, resolve it, whether it be with relationship stuff with women. It's taking a toll on me, man, and I feel like even starting from probably about October of last year, it was kind of just like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I know what I want to do, but it's
Mhm.
like, what steps do I have to do in order to kind of get there? And it was hard. It was rough. I was going through it, but I think I don't even think I know music is what you know trying to push myself further, experiment. Record, trying to find my own recording process, my vocal chain, and I think that moment in Texas really like changed the trajectory of my life because it was like I was kind of hurt and struggling like emotionally just in my
Mhm.
relationships life, whether it's friends or family or anybody, and that was that one thing that kind of kept me grounded and consistent. And ever since that, like, man, those I went to the studio every other Thursday up in Jersey, so I wake up early, drive up, we do like 14-hour days, man, and it's like
Mhm.
I never felt so alive. Like, it was like, wow, it was magic. Us three inside that studio, just really, I'm bringing stuff to them, and I'm like, let's make this something different, something new, something refreshing, something that it feels nostalgic but new at the same time. And I think that's what
Right.
we were really trying to go for. But that really brought me out of the funk that I was kind of in, and then life started catching up again, and it was like, all right, I feel like I'm in a better place now. And it's just like I had to figure out what my priorities are. But now, um I was so nervous this last week, man. You don't even understand. Anxious. Like, there were so many different feelings. It's like I've never. It's you do a podcast. You understand putting yourself out there. Like, it
Yep.
might not be the most comfortable thing, and like for my art, like I'm putting my music out there, and it's like you can worry about how people are going to receive it, but at the end of the day, if you're staying true to yourself and your music and the feelings that you got for it, everybody's not going to like everything, man. They're not, and but the people that love you and they love you, and if you have a good product, they're going to support it. And I know that I have something special and something good with this project. So I'm anxious, but like, man, I'm ecstatic, man. It's life's been up and down, but it's looking on the up and up right now, man.
Hey, that's always good to hear, man. And boy, did you just preach a word? Because listen, trying to do this podcast and put yourself out there and put what art that you're trying to create out there is always a bit nerve wracking, especially for me, knowing that there are some times where I'm like, oh, hey, look, I want to share my thoughts, my views, not only just from a how an opinionated standpoint, but also I got to be sure that I'm educated on these things as well. And one of the biggest things that I've always wanted to talk about is just my love for music and I just my love for how we as black folk can create music, whether it be from inspiration or just even out of nothing. That's always been a part of our actual DNA. So it's just like, okay, and y'all know I love hip hop. So this is something that I wanted to incorporate. But as we talk about hip hop, we also got to talk about the things surrounding hip hop and the culture surrounding hip hop as well. And how are we going to be able to maintain and survive? A lot of us, while we can create and love music, some people are meant to be great artists, and then there's others who are meant to do something else in relation to that art.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I felt. I'm like, all right, look, I can play music, but I want to do something that is related to being within the hip hop community and not only just focusing on what's going on as far as like the giants of hip hop right now, but also just talk to folk who are making their own path, whether it be content creation or whether they are doing art like you are doing, or whether they're doing owning a business or starting a nonprofit. This is what this platform was created for, to show that we will survive, we can thrive, and we can be great at what we do. So but at the same time, it is very, very difficult because I know for me, it's like there are episodes that I'm featuring guests, and I'm just like, hey, that got a good amount of views, and then there are episodes that I have guests that didn't really get a lot, and I'm just like, okay, what's going on here? And sometimes it's just the way that the algorithm is. There was one episode that I did with a frat brother of mine who had literally worked on a library in Hampton, and he went to Hampton University. He's graduated now, and I thought that that was very important from a community standpoint, and it didn't get a lot of views. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, that's kind of crazy. But I do an episode on P Diddy and how he's been acting out here, and next thing I know, I got 800 views on a podcast episode, and I'm just like, man, people's priorities are kind of fucked
Yeah.
up. But you know what?
Listen, yeah, I know, man. But that's a sign of the times, man.
Yeah.
It, it's crazy, and then, but yeah, it does be like that. I get you.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as my mental health, man, I've been all right.
Right.
I've just been extremely tired because, for those who know my job, this was a big couple of weeks, and unfortunately, I work 12-hour days. And this time I was told, we had to work 5 12-hour days instead of like 4 12-hour days on the six. So I was beyond exhausted. And going to that, to the album, listening party, I was cooked,
Right.
but I was like, no, I'm gonna have fun because you know what? This is my brother. We've been through it all. We've seen it all. And I know how much, this music means to him. So I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna support until I just, can't support no more. So at that point, after the album had played and I let a few more tracks play, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna just get some well-deserved rest.
Right.
And as soon as I got home, bro, when I tell you, like, I crashed on the couch and I didn't wake up until damn near noon. So
I listen. I hear you. As somebody who works 12s, I do 7 in a row. But
oof,
but mine is 1 week on, 1 week off. So
right.
like, I trust me. I get you. Especially when you take a day off. It's like that first day back. Trying to be like relaxing is always hard because it's like
Mhm.
you're just trying to get that sleep schedule right, and mine's be all kind of out of whack. So right now, like I know I go to work at 8 p.m. I'm gonna pull it all night. I've been up. I slept normally last night, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna pull a 24-hour day. I already know how it is, and tomorrow's
It,
shot for me.
yep, and that's what I was going through when I went to the listening party, bro. I was like, yo, by the time I get back home, I would have been up for more than 24 hours. This is kind of crazy. Because I go in at 3 a.m. to work. So it was just like, ugh, all right, cool. But that being said, I still had a great time. I've gotten some rest. I plan on getting more, obviously, but until I have to go in on Wednesday. With that being said, that the brutal weeks are over, at least for the time being, until December rolls around, and then that's going to be another thing in itself. But still, we move and we you
That's
don't
it.
try to make ends meet.
Keep it pushing, man. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So with that in mind, I definitely want to talk about what your inspirations were for this album because when I listened to it, and I'm not going to spoil it for the audience because obviously we want y'all to listen to it whenever it drops on the 31st. But I definitely wanted to poke your brain a little bit and find out, okay, what was like the major inspiration to create this kind of project?
I think it was really turning 30. So this is my first ever proper project, like being in the studio and everything, and it was like, you know, I've been working on music for years, and I've had a lot like just on my hard drive, and I'm like, man, once I find the right studio, I'm gonna bring it to them and really like have a mix it properly, master it, and everything. And the way that it happened, it was something much more than that. So
Hmm.
for me, it was I went to my new studio starting in March, and I was like, I brought them 2 songs, and they really loved the 2 songs. And those 2 songs, funny enough, don't happen to be on this project. I'll probably use them for a later project just because they have a little bit more serious subject matter.
Right.
But in between that first and the second studio session, that was 2 weeks later. I don't know what it was, but I must have had a dream or something. But I was just kind of reflecting on like on my life, my 20s, because I was like, I'm 30 now. Like I want this project to mean something because I know what I want my future projects to head. But I was like, I need people to understand like my 20s, I was lit. Like shit was lit. It was a fun time. And it plays on my last name, which is Funderburg. So, fun. It's just this project is meant to be fun. It's
Hmm.
supposed to be about, no matter what age you are. I don't care if you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, any age, right? Fun is fun. Fun is what you make it. Everybody's version of fun is a little bit of different, and it's not to be like, oh, he's doing this and that. And it's like, no, just the energy. I had a great time. As long as you're doing it for the love of the game, you're not hurting nobody. You're living your life. Like, bro, have fun. Not enough people have fun, and I think that was you know. On the intro track, and I know if you've heard the project, but
Yeah,
I just have one line that says, we're just young, we just want to have fun, and
exactly.
we just, man, that was it. That was it. I wanted a project that was fun because we'll go later projects I'll have. They might not be as fun, but I
Hmm.
want you to know that the fun is there. It's just fun has a time and a place.
It does. It does. At the same time, I also want people to leave with like, don't get too caught up in the serious stuff because again, like if you are as savvy as I am and you're looking at what's happening on the daily, like there are times where like the doom and gloom of this country and the world in general will make you be like, oh my God, like I don't want to deal with this no more. And I say that to say that there are times where I felt like that. I'm like, man, I can't keep doom scrolling on these social media apps or hearing the news all the time and it'd be something negative like man I gotta go out and just try to live my life and have fun and, in the background I'm sitting there like yeah what can I do to make sure that I have a better life for not only myself but eventually if I do have kids I wanted to be sure that they have a better life than I did just as my parents did but at the same time it's like I gotta make sure that I have some fun because if I don't
Yes.
this is going to literally drain my life away. And I do not want that to happen to anybody. So you make a very, very excellent point about, there's a time and place, but also just it's there. So have fun and, have as much fun as possible. I and I definitely appreciate you for throwing that because listen, your 20s, and I can attest to this because especially the times from between being at HU and then actually you moving up to DC and whatnot and just the amount of times that we've had so much fun
Yeah.
throughout those periods man listen there are a lot of parties that we can talk about and then there's something we cannot talk about but it's it's always been a good time and uh I've always appreciated Funny for like just the fun that we've always had so for one thank you for that and also thank you for reinforcing that for this project.
Of course, I try. I like to stick to the theme. Like if I'm gonna have a theme for a project, I think that's
Mhm.
one of my big knocks, and that's probably part of the reason why I started making music in the first place. Was like when we were in college, I think about 2016, 2017. I felt like I had no problem like trap or anything, but like I felt a lot of it was getting a little too repetitive, and I was like, I
Mhm.
can make better. I was like, I can do better music than this. I know I can, and
Yes.
so like my thing was like, sometimes some of these songs they don't even have themes to them. It's just like just glorifying a certain lifestyle and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like I need a little bit more artistry in how everything goes. My favorite artists are like Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Mac Miller, Tyler the
Mhm.
Creator. Like, they have a certain level of artistry about them. You can feel how you feel about, whatever. But their level of art, they make very high quality music,
Yeah.
and so I want to at least be able to contribute that and make some high quality music. That's the only thing I want. I want to make high quality music that makes you feel something because not enough people feel nowadays. So let's feel something.
Hey, that's you hit the nail on the head with that. Speaking of like the artists that you were inspired by and that you were a fan of, was there one particular artist that that style uh that helped you create this particular album? I don't know if there was like if it was one artist, if it was a slew of artists that you're like, you know what, I like, like their flow, I like the style, I like the way that they've, created music. Uh did that or who, if so, went into creating this project?
I would say that's an excellent question, KJ. It really is. What I would say, there are probably about three of them.
Okay.
Kid Cudi. That
Yeah,
you think about that Man on the Moon, like early
that,
Kid Cudi,
yeah.
the rage, man. It's there, and so
I
like I
heard that
want
influence. First track, I was like Cuddy.
the
I caught it right on. I was like
man.
Cuddy. Okay.
That rage. I'm gonna go ASAP Rocky. I'm
Okay.
from New
Yeah.
York myself, so like a lot of that early. When you think about ASAP Rocky's production is phenomenal. On
Yeah.
his tracks, as you think early, like mid, like everything that he does. Earlier on, he had that swag about that purple swag, and it was
Mhm.
like I think swag. I heard the kids nowadays say "riz." I fucking hate that term. I'm sorry, I just can't stand it. I can't stand that term, man. So I'm like swag, nah, swag. Then you got a little something. You gotta have a little swag about it, man. It's I think yeah that whole ASAP Rocky, ASAP Mom, everything that had a big influences on me as well.
Hmm.
And then the last one. Man, I'm trying to think. Who would I say? It's honestly, I would have to shout out probably more my rockier influences. So like I was listening to a lot of like Fallout Boy and Panic at the Disco. If
Mm-hmm.
you like on the project, I do have a good amount like of guitar. There's some
Yeah.
solos on there, and it's just like I have to nod rock because like where I grew up in New York and Long Island, Hempstead, it's a predominantly black and Hispanic town, but the town is like it's a my town of minorities s- around a bunch of white people, and so like
Yep.
all that rock, or alternative. Paramore, Haley Williams, everybody was so like integral in me growing up, between my
Hmm.
teenage years, my formative years, and I think I had to pay some homage to that, man. I think it does plays a part to my sound.
I'm just glad to hear that there are more, black folk out there who are inspired by a lot of rock because, believe it or not, like, so was I, especially in high school. Especially like when I joined the jazz band, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I know that I got to play some sort of like, there are jazz rhythms and there are certain jazz elements, as well as genres, between big band and bebop and whatnot. But what I wanted to do was listen to more rock because it was like I'm still trying to, I guess, learn how to come up with different solos and different things that would fit into, what we played during jazz band. So, but I'm definitely appreciative of you saying that because, man, for me, and I was more of a like a not alternative. I guess alternative, but I was more along the lines of like a System of a Down. That was one
I
of the
love, yeah, that's
yeah,
my guys.
yeah, them and I would, I mean, obviously, Evanescence. Like at this point in my teenage years, I couldn't go 2 seconds without hearing that song, and it's just like, okay, guys, but definitely Paramore and Haley Williams, like that had a lot of influence. Obviously, you said Panic at the Disco. Green Day was especially
Uh,
big
yeah.
for me, so yeah, I definitely appreciated hearing that. So, in terms of the project, how long did it take for you to like finalize everything that you wanted to record? Like, okay, I'm gonna use this song, and we're gonna cut it off at 10 because the album itself is only 10 tracks, which is a good runtime. Because I know some people like to throw in like 15, 20. Some people were throwing 30 to 40, and I'm just like, hey, y'all doing too
Yeah,
much, man. We
hey,
got
KZ, hey, yeah. KZ, I listen. I have very strong opinions about that.
Yeah.
I think for this I consider this one more of an EP. If this was like early 2010s, this would be a mixtape. But
Hmm.
we don't have quote unquote mixtapes, which is unfortunate because I think that's a way for artists to like kind of experiment and have less and don't have as much pressure. They're like having
Right.
fun with it, and so I like to say it's an EP mixtape, and I think those should be probably about like 8 to 12 songs. I think really 10 is probably should be the most. I think albums should be reserved. I think honestly 15 for an album max. Anything
Max.
past 15, you can give me a couple deluxe songs, like maybe all right, we could push it to like 17, 18. But I don't think anything more than that. So
Right.
for me trying to figure it out, honestly, I was pretty good about it. I had a bunch of songs on my hard drive that I was like, I was like, all right. So what I pretty much do, I record on my own song. So everything that you hear, I've recorded
Hmm.
myself. So like I have my own little home studio. I find the beats off of YouTube actually. Like I find like I've got a whole bunch of producers that's just on there. Man, YouTube, if you know where to look, it's like a hidden gem of like just great great producers and stuff, man. And like you don't need the hottest producer. You don't know if you have creativity and you know what you want to do. Like you got a vision, you just gotta have that will to want to do it. But for me, man, I was pretty good about it. Every studio session, we'd knock out about 2 songs,
Hmm.
for the most part, and we did that from March until the end of June. So about 3 months, I already had it recorded. So we would go there and we'd be like, all right, how can we bring this to life and bring it the fullest? So like, my engineer, Corey would play some guitar. We'd have Jordan either play some guitar or keys. And we would just add different instruments, different sounds, and shout out my man Nana. If you know, I think you know Nana,
Yeah, I
but
know. No, no.
he's my executive producer on this too.
Hmm.
He's had a heavy part just whatever we did in the studio, I'd be like, yo, bro, listen to it. He'd be like, I feel like it needs some sounds right here, but it's good where he's like, so it's just kind of having that brain trust and just everybody just kind of thinking about it. But I would say truly, to get to at least the final mixes, I had them done probably about the end of June, and then my mastering engineer Thomas Juth, he's a Grammy winner for a Latin album, I believe.
Mm.
So he's a Grammy winning engineer. So me and him connected back in November of last year for one of my singles, "Girl." It's gonna be back up. I had to take it down just because I changed distributors, so I want to
Right.
put it back up right before the project. But that's not gonna be on this project. But just I love that song anyway. But yeah. So me and him hooked up. We were like, man, I was like, I need you to do this. He brought us in. Me and my engineers, he brought us together in Texas, and I thought it
Hmm.
was fitting. Well, the fact that he brought us together, and they were my mixing engineers, and they're my producers, and then he was like, "No," I was like, "You know what, Corey, Jordan, me, we were like, we should bring Thomas along into this. You know, he brought us together. It'd be fitting that he is the one that actually masters it." And we went through that process, and it took probably about a month or so, really, to get everything just sounding the right way. So I would say, I've been just kind of tweaking things, but we pretty much had it down packed since about August.
Okay.
So
Cool, cool. Just to point out something. I didn't even realize that girl had disappeared from the stream, and I really like girl. I was surprised that it wasn't on this album, but I know that if it didn't fit like the as you said, if you have a theme, you're gonna stick to it. Then, and I know that girl might be something for later on. So that being said, girl was actually a really nice little single that he dropped. And if you didn't hear it yet, as he said, he's gonna bring it back. But I definitely love girl. I was like, yo, okay. Fundy getting in his bag right now. I appreciate that. Uh, as you were making the album, I just wanted to ask: was there any songs that you might have had like a little bit of writer's block?
let's see. I wouldn't say probably writer's block. What I would say is kind of I would say like it's like producer's block. So
Mm,
for the third song of the project, Believe Me,
mhm,
it took actually multiple studio sessions for us to get that one sounding the way it does. So the first session we had, because we did a lot to the what the original beat was,
mhm,
we got the first half of it because it kind of it has a nice little transition on the second half of the song, but we had to kind of make it more spacier. And the first session we did, we were like, I don't know what else the fuck we could do. So it was like me sitting down for weeks just trying to figure out. So I was like, what do I want to do with it? And then we go back to the studio and we're like, all right, guys, let's lock in. Let's try to figure this one out. And once we kind of got the ball rolling on it, everything kind of came pretty natural, man. Um, I don't know. I feel like for me, writer's block is so weird because some of these songs, I can write a song. Like a lot of these songs were written probably in like I'd say probably about like 4 to 8 hours. Like
mm,
just me,
okay,
I write my songs by myself. I just sit down in my room and like I'm gonna just sit down and lock in, man.
mhm,
And I think the one that I'll probably say I'm the most proud of that it just kind of came out of nowhere was Go Mode, which
okay.
actually just came out. I dropped it as a single this past
Oh,
Saturday, so
okay.
it is out on all streaming services. And it is towards the middle of the project, but that one it's fun. It's just like it's got like a more of like a hip hop bounce to it. It's like a little
Mhm.
poppier, but it just I love it. And I didn't know even know I had that one in me. I was like, whoa, what in the world? I was like, where's this coming from? But it just poured out, man. It was like I think I did that one like 3 hours. I just
Okay.
wrote it and then we took it to Cocoon Studios up in Jersey, and Corey and them, they got it sounding good. We were like, yeah, I can see this on commercials, man.
Nah, for sure. When I heard Gomo the first time, like just riding in the car, I was like, "Hey, this is the pop track that if you decided to release this as a single, I can see it." I'm literally saying that in my head, and then I hear it again at the club. I'm like, "Yeah, this is that track." If nothing else, this will be the one. So yeah, man, you gotta hit the you. I guess we're on the same wavelength regarding that. But I definitely understand, having a producer's block and whatnot, because sometimes it just, as we said, we go through things that we want to be creative on, like certain projects or maybe even certain songs, or just maybe even just certain things that we're working on, and then it's just like, okay, well, I have an idea, but then there's something that just needs to like get us over that hump. So just glad to see that you were able to overcome that. So, as we're discussing the album, I want to say, like, outside of Go Mode, was there any track that you had the most fun making, keeping up with the theme?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna say the one that we're gonna have. This past weekend we were shooting a music video for one of the
Mhm.
songs. So it's towards the end of the project, track 9, Too Much.
Ah.
Uh, and, and Too Much is actually the last song that we did at our studio sessions. I was at 9 songs, and I said, "Yo, I got 9." And I said, because and if you listen to the project through and through, the transitions are there. Like I really,
Mhm.
I made an point of emphasis to make sure it's like I don't need you to use your Spotify DJ mix or Apple Music mix and do your own transitions. Take that shit off and let it play the way that it's supposed to play. Because
Yeah.
I took the care and time to do that, and I think it was so when we were doing I had like the 9 songs, and I was like, man, this transition between two of the songs was not going, and I was like, it's not doing it the way that I wanted to do, and I was like, I need another song in here.
Mhm.
And I was like, and I'm looking through all the different songs I have on my hard drive, and I was like, yeah, these are good, but I was like, this is not for that particular spot.
Right.
And so I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to just settle for something. And I was at work just listening to beats, and this was probably like a week before I was going back to the studio session. And Corey was like, "How many?" He's like, I was starting off with 5 songs on the project, then I pushed it to 7, then it was like 9. And I was like, all right, 10 sounds right. And so I was like, nine's good. And then I heard the beat to Too Much, and that one has like a little kind of Detroit, kind of like West Coast kind of vibe to it.
Mhm.
And I said, "Yo, this beat right here." I said, "This is it. I don't know what this song is gonna be yet, but I said this beat has to be it." And so it's funny enough that I heard it, I wrote to it. I was like, "Yo, this song's a fucking bop, my guy." I was like, "We're in here." So I went to go buy the beat, and he didn't have like the premium stuff. He only had like the raw, like the MP3 version of it. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Don't tell me that like something's wrong with the sampling on it for that he did, and I can't like actually buy it for like regular use." And I was like, "Oh, I was devastated." But I was like, "You know what? No, I'm gonna message him because maybe it was just an oversight. And he didn't realize that he didn't put everything needed just to buy the proper thing." And so I messaged him, and he was so fast about it. Producer named MDX. He's great. Oh my god! But he was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "My bad, bro." He's like, "I'm gonna put it up right now," and he put it up. Everything was good. We took it to the studio, and me, Corey, and Joe, we was in there. We worked on that one song for 15 hours
Ooh.
just to get it sounding right, getting that feel. It was one particular set of drums that we were like, I'm not in love with it, and then it was like, and we were like, all right, we're gonna find it. We're gonna try and find some drum sounds on there. I don't play instruments personally, but they had me on the bongos. So if you hear some bongos on that joint, that's me right there hitting it up. I was like, come on. I was like, nah, we need a little something right there, give you a little bounce. So man, that's the one song that I'm like, I'm proud of that one. Put a lot of work into that one, and that's the song for the music video. So music video, it'll come out the same time as the project. And so yeah, they're working on it right now, man. Finished filming yesterday.
Hey, that's what's up, man. I kind of wish I was able to get there in time for the music video, bro. But I
It's,
was doing work shit, obviously, and I was
it's
tired. I was just like, all right, I need to give myself a little bit of breathing room. But I'm glad that y'all were able to put that together, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what this music video like looks like for real, for real. Um, Going back to some other tracks now, when you made this one 1868,
mhm.
I guess you had Hampton on your mind when you were making this one.
Yeah, I did. I did. It's a in an ideal world, if everything would have worked out, how I probably would have wished. I wish it would have came out right before homecoming because homecoming is this weekend coming up.
Yep.
But it is what it is. It's all right. But yeah, it was like that song came kind of naturally as well because it was like I'm not. It's I think things that come naturally are things that you lived. And I'm
Mhm.
like, and that song is like, this is an experience that I had during homecoming.
Yep.
It's 5:37 on a weekday, Tuesday. I remember being at the guy's house. I don't know, you remember 79C back in the day, KJ.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So we was just sitting down. Everybody got out of class. Random Tuesday. This is when Drake and I Love Makona's Tuesday has this one up club going up on a
Mhm.
Tuesday, and so I make a little reference to it in the chorus too. But it was like we just sitting down, not doing anything. We were like, "Yo, I ain't trying to throw a party." She let's hit up everybody, and we had that joint jumping, bro. We had
Uh,
easily about 70 people in the crib, easy, and like we had no business doing that. You know, man. Our some of our bigs got us some lick, and we had that place popping. So it was kind of like, and then we used to harbors hop back in the day too.
right.
That's I feel like that's a lost art. I don't even know if the kids still harbors hopping anymore.
I don't know, bro. I haven't heard it. I'd have to ask some of the drumline folk if like, yo, do y'all still harbors hop, like, or do y'all even have parties in the harbors anymore? Because, bruh,
Mhm. I know, different time. It's a different
different
time,
time.
man. That's before the gate. Before the gate and
Yep.
came. Oh, yep. So, but yeah, that was the whole thing behind it. It was like, if for anybody, and it doesn't matter about HBCU homecoming, regular homecoming. I had an HBC experience, so I can only speak on my experience. But I
Hmm.
know, the PWIs be lit. Like, I can imagine. I would love to go to a homecoming at U of M. Like, let me go to University of Michigan or Ohio State. I know they turned that shit up. I ain't even
No, for
worried about
real.
it. So, it'll turn up on it's all week, weekend, weekday, don't even matter. So that's the energy behind it.
Nah, for sure. I just remember, like, out of all the PWI like parties that I went to, I think I went to a College of William and Mary
Mm,
party. And it was actually a Delta party.
uh-huh.
And when I say that shit was, I was just like, yo, I'm having a whole lot of fun, bro. And I was lit. I the girls were doing their thing. I'm just sitting here just like, yeah, yeah, this is definitely a different homecoming experience. But I'm
Yeah.
still having fun, and that's the thing at the end of the day. But those parties at 79C,
Man,
man,
legendary, legendary.
legendary, bro, legendary. I just the stories that we have for those apartments, man. That is definitely a time was had, and this is me, not even this is me graduating. I've already graduated at this point where y'all were having some of these parties, but I'm still around because I'm working for HU, obviously. So it was just like, oh, okay, well, these are my guys that I met just this past year. Let me see what they got going on and whatnot. So anytime that I went up there, it was just always an experience. Now, I don't know if I was ever at one of those random like weekday parties. I can't. My memory is not the best, I guess, anymore. But I was trying to figure out if it was like, was I at one of those weekday parties? And I probably was during like, but look, we don't have so many. It's just kind of like a blur at this point.
Oh yeah. KJ, can you see me? I think my camera messed up for a second.
Yeah, I can see you perfectly.
Okay, all right. I just can't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
myself, but I can still see you.
Okay, great, girl. Yeah, I can still see you, so everything's good over here.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. Now there is one I guess song that I guess I had a question about. And I guess that goes into that rage kind of music, and that's mosh pit.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, what were your feelings when you decided to make a song like that? Because I know, like, you definitely gotta be in a certain kind of mood to do what the song requires you to do.
It was just I think I had a lot of pent up rage, and I was just
Mhm.
like, it was like I was a little angry, but like I was like in a good mood angry. And I
Mhm.
said, I was like, I want to be productive with this feeling. And when I heard, I actually found the beat to Mosh Pit by accident.
Mm.
The song after Hey Hey is produced by the same person who did Mosh Pit.
Oh, okay.
So I was originally gonna, I had wrote to Hey Hey first, and I was like, well, all right. He had like a special, like, buy one, buy two get one free or whatever, and I'm like, all right, well, let me, I'm sure I can find some other beats from this guy that I like. So I'm just going down just the list of listening to him, and Mosh Pit came on, and I said, oh, I was like, what is this? And like mosh pit, I was like, hold up, let me do a little something to this. And I said, you know what, let's go do it. And I just sat down, I locked in, and man, it made me feel about like, I've been on a lot of festivals. I've been, we did something in the water.
Yep.
I've been to quite a few something in the waters. I've been to Rolling Loud Miami,
Mhm.
Rolling Loud San Bernardino out in California, and what else have I been to? And Day in Vegas out in Vegas. And so like I've been in a mini a mosh pit, my brother, like a lot. So like, now I'm getting a little older. I'm like, I got a few moshes in me. I ain't got too many of me, but I got a
Right.
few. But I know that feeling of how it feels to be in one. And it's like I
Mhm.
want, and a mosh pit gave me that feel like, oh my God, I could imagine people like, like moshing to this. Like I can be on stage performing this and just like just people losing their mind going crazy. And I that was trying to channel that feeling that I have, and
Hmm.
so just like something tangible that you can mosh pit to a song, but when there's a song solely about mosh pitting, it's like when I'm not going mosh pit, like I gotta go mosh pit, man. So
Nah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Speaking of that, like that good energy and that good rage, were you able to apply that anywhere else? Not only just from like a lyric standpoint, but also like a production standpoint.
let's see, I'm trying to think. I would say Believe Me has it a little bit. And I would say, let's see, Believe Me. Uh, Believe Me in All I Know. I feel like there's like it's not as like in your face ragey as I would
Hmm.
say Mosh Pit is, but there's that feeling of kind of like it's a little angsty, and it has just like it's moodier. So it's
Right.
you're channeling your rage in a little different way. But I would say that feeling, it was there for me. It was just my state of mind at the time and what I wanted to achieve out of the song.
Hmm.
I think that's where I had to use some of that, that Mr. Rage or Kid Cudi kind of rage, and I try to channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A whole lot of like during the the productive the making of this entire project during the writing process. I was listening to a lot of Man on the Moon
Okay.
2. Just like I'm thinking like Mr. Rager, like just like
Hmm.
having that thing knock, just like hitting the proper way. I feel like a lot of it, if it doesn't hit that way that you want it to, it's not going to translate well. And I like to say I got a pretty good ear for music, so I know what sounds good. And I was like, if it's not making me feel a certain way, then it's not going to make somebody else feel a certain way.
Nah, for sure, man, for sure. Uh, I got a question,
Yeah.
and it's kind of related to the album, and it may or may not be. But it's just like in terms of hip hop today, was there a certain project that like dropped recently that also helped with that inspiration? It could be like from any, whether they be well known artists or not well known artists, but was there like anything that happened as of recent in hip hop that like also I guess added on to that inspiration?
I would have to say recent, and this has been it's been a great year for hip hop this year.
It has.
Last year was really good as well, to be honest.
Hmm.
I would have to say Chromacopia by Tyler the Creator. Like
Okay.
it came out in November of last year, and it's stuck with me. Shout out Tyler, that's my man's. He's That project really, like, it was so. I had dubbed it as like his version of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy,
Yeah.
just because it's like you get the whole range of what Tyler the Creator kind of is. Of course, nowadays his lyrics aren't as edgier as they used to be when he was younger. But like
Yeah.
that feeling, that just I don't give a fuckness is always there. And
Mhm.
so I think that is something that I wanted to, try to exude. It's like I want to talk about things that aren't necessarily PG. I got X-rated song on there. I got some just like, I don't want to care. Why don't I care? You can see me one way, but I'm like everybody's going to see you a little bit differently. I'm like, but this is what I did. I might everything that this project is. I might not feel the same way that I do, like as I did back in the day. Back in the day,
Right.
like that's growth. But this is a way that I did feel at one point, and I want to show that people can change, people can grow, and it's okay to have the. Ain't nobody getting hurt. We all having a good time. So like, let's talk about it. If we want to have a dialogue, everything's not for everybody anyway. So but this is for me, and this is for the people that enjoy it.
It's funny that you mentioned Tyler because as I was listening to this album for like some strange reason, I was thinking of Don't Tap the Glass when you dropped this. So I was like, there's a lot of similarities here. Like, Don't Tap the Glass. It may not be Tyler's magnum opus. Obviously, I kind of contribute that to Chromacopia just from the subject matter that he was talking about. But Don't Tap the Glass is a fun album. And, he's here just for the vibes and it's very, that album is very 80s coded, whereas I felt like yours was very like you could tell it was like mid 2000s, well, mid to 2010s coded.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to know if you felt the same way that I feel now as I'm comparing, your project to Tyler's latest project.
I could say, yeah, I could definitely say, and it's funny because that project came out right after I finished my project. So
Mm,
like literally, I was like, I wish I could say that, like, because it is something that probably would have inspired me in a certain way. Because I love that project, I do. I've got about 4 or 5 songs on that project, I'm really like, whew, I'm like,
Yeah.
Tyler, you in your bag. But yeah, no, I'd like to say like the one thing that I say the comparison is how one, they're both, not particularly long albums. They're,
Right.
projects. They're about 30 minutes, very similar in length time, and they
Hmm.
kind of they like you start and then you blink and it's kind of done.
Done.
It's not
Right.
like there's no real lull on. In my opinion, I don't think there's a lull on either project. It's just like, the energy is there. It's kind of just flowing through, and it's like, wow. It was like a lot of time was put into definitely his project for sure, and I know definitely a lot of time was put into mine.
Absolutely, absolutely. Going back to the actual listening party, one thing that I always notice as a Hamptonian, because I have to do this, is that anytime that like there is a new artist who's playing music, I always do a vibe check. I always like to see people's reactions to the music and how they respond to it. And again, because we went to Hampton, we know that if there was a new person who was dropping music and whatnot, or if they were performing live, like if they didn't pass that vibe check, you can immediately tell. Because and some, I don't know, Hampton's students sometimes they didn't like to be judgmental. Well, some might have, but you could definitely tell on their faces and how the way that they reacted, whether they were feeling something or not. So I just wanted to like at least point out, and I don't know if you saw this, but as you were playing the album and whatnot, I was looking at people's reactions and trying to, feel like how they were
Yeah.
vibing. And I could tell that people really did like enjoy the project there. Did you get a chance to take a look at that? I know that you were enjoying yourself, but did you see what I was seeing?
I think I did. I don't know. I feel like I was in a combination of a little, not the most sober state. And then, but I really did, and then I was nervous as well. It's just like,
Hmm.
so I felt like I just it felt like I just wanted to play it and really like, just enjoy, live in the moment. I got to talk to people more afterwards after the project was over.
Right.
And like, because even in myself, I know like every song's not necessarily for like, say, like a club or a big environment. Some songs you just
Hmm.
want to listen to by yourself, because I didn't design every song necessarily for that particular setting. So I'm
Right.
like, I think the songs that I expected to kind of translate well in a lot, in like in that form that it is, without like a live rendition or anything, and just that version, the songs that I thought would perform well or be received well in like a club setting, they were received well at least.
Right.
So I think that was, I could see it on people, like definitely like go mode. I saw like people moving and shit, and so
Hmm.
like I was like, all right, I was like, I see a little bounce for it, and it's just like, yeah, and then like even the bouncer, he was like, now that you remind me, he, after one of them, he was like, bro, we need to talk. He was like, my family owns strip clubs, and he was like, you guys see, you got a one or two more here, and he was like.
Hey.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. I was like, all right, I'm getting a lot of good reactions from this. So I was like, okay. So yeah, but I definitely was able to tap in with everybody afterwards, and there was a lot of love, man. Definitely a lot of love.
Okay, that was kind of my next question. I was going to ask, like, did you get a chance to speak to people and what was their actual reaction to it? I can tell you mine. I loved it, and I already told you, like, between text and just talking to you, like the album is a lot of fun and it's kind of seamless. So, was there one reaction in particular that stuck with you after the party?
I think the one, I have to say, it probably maybe one or two, but Carl, and Carl's been with me through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Without Carl, I probably wouldn't have like really took that leap of faith and really like start to, actually take it super serious. Like I always was serious about the music part, but like as far as the releasing it and doing like and like treating it like it's actually like its own entity and business and everything. Like I got to
Hmm.
shout out Carl to that, because he invested some capital in me, and he was like, yo, he's like, I believe in you, and I'm like, he's like, hopefully, this little bit will help you, really believe in yourself and push forward. And Carl was like, man, he was like, and Carl's been listening to the project, and he's like, man, he's like, I love it. He was like, and the fact that I was able to do it, and like. He was so proud, and I think my younger brother, he's a hard critic, and so that's so if he says something's good, then I'm like, all right. I was like I gave him my music ear of being very picky and judgy. So
Hmm.
like, so if he has something nice to say and nothing bad to say about it, then I'm like, all right, I got one, and that's I think them two for sure. Like, yeah.
For sure, man. I'm glad that they were able to give you that feedback, and if your brother is a hard critic and he says it's great, then that should tell you that you on the right path, man.
Yeah.
So, Yeah,
Thanks.
just continue to push forward with the work, man. Like I've told you numerous times, and I'm gonna just say it again that I personally love the album. I think that if you know you in the right setting, it's really going to expand your possibilities, and I just can't wait to see what's next from you, man. I know that music bug is in you, so I'm just waiting, especially because I knew that from the start that you always had something about you as wanting to create music. I remember like I think the first time that I listened to you rap, you were if and correct me if my memory doesn't serve me correctly, but uh I think the first time that I heard you rap, weren't you? I mean, you were off a, I guess, a specific drug. I guess you wanted to feel the way that Chance felt,
Hmm.
and yeah, you doing a little acid rap and whatnot. Though you were inspired by that, so you were making music that was based off that. Um, right, I think it was right around the time that you were transitioning to up to the DC area. So I just
I,
wanted
I
to,
I think I know what you're talking. I think I
yeah,
remember there's one time I showed you some stuff when I lived in the harbors, and I
yes.
think this was like I think about a year and a half before I graduated,
Mhm,
and I remember it vividly, and I think the name of the song was like "To the Day I Die." And I remember I had brought you in because I was like, that's one of the first songs I was really like, all right, I'm like really feeling this one, and I'm like,
mhm.
and you played it, and you were like, huh, like very you were like you pleasantly surprised, and I was like, okay, good. I'm like I'm getting a little positive reaction, so I was like, okay, I'm in the right step. So yeah, it was definitely one of those more introspective ones. You know, I never released it, but like I have it all on my little files and stuff.
Your hard drive,
So,
yeah, man.
my hard drive, but yeah, man, it's not. But yeah, I would definitely say, yeah, it's probably one of those. I think I do remember that.
Word, word, word. All right, so this is I got to ask a couple of questions outside of the album and
Yeah.
whatnot. Just based on the music that dropped this year, w- and I know that you know we got a few months before the Grammys hit, but which rap album do you think will actually take it all this year as far as best rap album?
All right. If I believe I remember the category well enough, I know GNX is up there. I believe
Hmm.
Chromacopia.
Yep,
Um, who else? I'm drawing a blank right now, but
Clips is up
but
there.
who I
Uh,
yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah.
All right. If I had to go between those three, to be honest, who I truly think deserve it, I think Tyler should win. Who I think
Hmm.
is really going to win it is Kendrick because it's Kendrick and he kind of tends to always get these. But in my opinion, I think GNX is his weakest album. In my humble opinion, I think and some people might argue Mr. Morale, but I think more Mr. Morale has a lot of substance and that
Hmm.
and it's funny, the two albums that I really enjoy from Kendrick, probably two of the ones that I enjoy a good amount, like Mr. Morale and To Pimp a Butterfly, like those have a lot more substance. Not to
Yeah,
say Kendrick's albums always have substance, but GNX is it feels like his like this is people say Damn was his commercial album. Okay, he did commercial album music like excellent, like, and it was great. The subject matter was there, it was commercial, cool. GNX, it's his Cali ode. It's like Cali commercial music, and he did it at the
yeah.
highest level you probably couldn't do it at. But it didn't resonate with me. Like I think every song, like he's got the hits. Can't say like Luther's about Man in the Mirror, few of them, but like I think on a whole, I don't think it deserves the Grammy over Tyler's Chromacopia.
I see. And I don't disagree with you, honestly, if in my opinion, because and I'm looking at the overview right now because I think that Glorilla's Glorious is going to be part of that, and Jid's God Does Like Ugly is going to be part of that as well. As far as the finality of what the albums are going to be. I know that GNX, Let God Sort Them Out, and Chromacopia are going to be like the big three out of those. For me, I am one of those people who I'm like, I'm gonna be happy whether it's GNX, Chromacopia, or if it's going to be Let God Sort Them Out, because I just thought that those were well done projects. As you said, GNX may not have been it's not Kendrick's strongest album as far as subject matter. But I think that, as you said, this was the ode to Cali music, and I saw a tweet somewhere that said every project Kendrick kind of like he curates as if it is something like, if you look at Section 80, it's a book. If you look at Good Kid, Mad City, it's a
No.
movie. To Pimp a
Mhm.
Butterfly is a poem. Damn is like a magazine. Mr. Morale is like a stage play, and GNX is like a cassette. So,
Ah,
yeah,
interesting. Oh, that's
when I
fucking
saw
fire. I
that, I
didn't.
was like, Oh, you know what? Now this is starting to make sense. So
Mm,
I definitely curated like that, and I think that in all honesty, as far as like subject matter, yes, Tyler does absolutely deserve it. And then Let God Sort Him Out also has like strong subject matter as well. And this is like, oh, this
yeah,
is going to be a tough year. Now it will. I'm not going to be upset if Kendrick doesn't win it. I also will be fine if he does. Like, but I think
yeah,
that it's going to be some strong competition this year. But I also think that, as we said, 2024 and 2025 were extremely good years for hip hop, even if it's not, the commercially the strongest. And hip hop was never really about the commercial numbers anyway, and that's
no,
another whole episode for another time. But I think there was just a lot of good music out there, and I'm also going to be I'm repeating this for my audience as well. I'll be doing a top 25 hip hop albums of 2025 because I did one for
oh
2024.
yeah,
Yeah, obviously GNX isn't on that one because that and Chromacopia were on the last
that's
list, and I was literally like, I was switching between one or two. I'm like GNX Chromacopia. Which one is number one? Which one's number two? It ended up being GNX number one, but like it's literally like this.
like
I'm like, damn, and I had to do it just because of the year that Kendrick had. I was like,
yeah,
yo, and based on what he was doing, but Tyler has a really, really strong contender, and I can't wait to see what the Grammys look like.
yeah.
Were there any other artists that you might have listened to this year that, of course, their albums didn't get a lot of hype?
Oh yes, the new Blood Orange album, Essex Honey. I don't know if you
Ooh,
listen to Blood Orange, but
ooh, I
he
did not know that they dropped. Hold
yeah,
on a minute.
they dropped I think a month ago, about a month or a month and a half ago. Essex Honey was phenomenal. It was oh yeah, that was an album right there. Um, the new the came out last week actually. The new Tame Impala. Holy
Mm,
cow! I'm telling you, like, and I'm like, I've always liked Tame Impala. I love this album.
mhm.
Like it was a shout out Nana. He put me on, but he told me I was like, whoa, like he's yeah. Tame Impala had it, just to oh my god, I listen to everything. So like, what the one now I have one. Can I say one that I'm kind of disappointed in, and you might it's considered a hot take?
Okay.
Jid's album. I'm disappointed,
Mm, mm,
and my reason is, and I love Jid. That's my man's,
yeah,
and it's not like it's not a bad album by any means,
it's not.
but it from what like the Forever Story had, and like from all his earlier projects, like it's too and he's a rapper. He's a rapper's rapper. But
Mhm.
I think on the how I want my songs to sound, I don't think he's the best song maker. I don't think
Mhm.
he doesn't make the best song in a way that's like it's gonna catch my attention. Like it's like words, 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 words. And I'm just like, all right, this is cool. Like I listened to it once, I gave it a good one listen, and I was like, there was nothing that I can be like, oh, I can grab onto this. Like I can sing along to this. I can rap. It's not. He's rapping, and and I love rappers more than anybody. I'm a big Eminem fan, but like there was a certain level of musicality to him. I think on Jid has the musicality. He's done it before,
Yeah.
but and not to say if this was his approach to having more rap center, just kind of rap it up, and but I felt like the reason why I don't think he's as big as that I think he should be or could be is because that he has to find that next level, that level
Mm,
of where it's like this is I think his either third or fourth project, proper album, and it's like I need to see that growth. I knew you could rap. I knew you could rap this whole time. But
right.
let me get in the product. I thought the production was very, very good on it. I thought it was great production. And I think the only part that falls flat is him. And not to
Mm,
say like he was bad. He wasn't bad. It's just I had nothing to grab onto.
I feel it. I feel it. And honestly, that's not a hot take. Out of all of his projects, this is probably my least favorite as well. I like it, and I ran it back a couple times. Like I liked it, but as far as like between as you said, the musicality is it just feels like okay. Whereas the Forever Story had me in it and it had me like this.
Yeah.
God does like ugly, excuse me. It had me kind of like, I'm like, okay, I can kind of grasp that concept, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Let me listen to it again, just to see how I'm feeling. But yeah, between like the Never Story and the Forever Story that had me like, okay, yeah, this thing has me in a chokehold. God does like ugly is like, okay, I like it, but it's not pushing you to that next level, Jid.
Yeah.
I need some more. I need something that's gonna be like yeah, he's undeniable at this point. But I do like the fact that, if he did create this album to be, as you said, a rapper's album, then at that point, it's like, okay, well, he accomplished the goal that he set out
Yeah.
to. So I honestly, like, I can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to show more of your rap prowess and more about your struggles with your faith and how you view your faith, then you know what? You've accomplished that goal. So I can't really be too mad at him about that. But I do agree that, yeah, it's not my favorite this year, though I still liked the project.
Yeah.
I will see, man. We'll see. I definitely just saved this Tame Impala album that you just told me about, because I see that he literally just dropped on Friday.
Mhm.
So I definitely am going to be saving that. Uh, I will say that outside of like the big hitters, for me, um, it's gotta be for me Magic Alive by McKinley Dixon. If you
I don't think I listened to
Bro, listen, just sit back
it.
and listen. It's different, but whoo boy, it's good. It dropped in June.
Okay.
So
What is
definitely
it?
look for
R&B or alternative?
No, no,
What genre?
it's hip hop.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Say less.
Yeah.
All right.
So definitely check that out. Also someone who recently just dropped, which I liked the project as well, and I thought it was a really smooth album. I don't expect it to like win any awards or anything like that. Um A Murder of Crows by Mick Jenkins. I think the production on that is like really, really, really smooth, and it reminds me a lot of, like, not only rapping over jazz, but it's also like a lot of beats were based in like the UK, and so
Mhm.
I can kind of tell. But yeah, he was on there, and Mick, when it comes to rapping, like that's
He's he's good. He's
yeah,
actually
he's good, he's good.
he's
So um
okay.
yeah, and I will say that also this, and again, this won't win any awards as well, but from the private collection of Saba and No ID, that was a
I haven't listened
great
to it
project,
yet.
bro.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a really great project. I actually like this project more than I liked his last one, and I'm just being
Really?
honest. Yes,
And well, is that the one with the on the album cover, like the little girl on that one, or the old man, the older
it was the
guy?
old man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the
that one
flowers
was
around and stuff.
for a few good things, and I liked Few Good Things.
Yeah, I like that album. Yeah.
But I do like the private collection just a tiny bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, Saba had a really, really very good project, and he slid on those No ID beats, but like he really did.
Listen, No
Uh,
ID is one of my favorite, man. I love No ID,
yes.
especially I'm a Logic fan, so like he does a lot when him and Logic get that Under Pressure
Oh
and yeah,
yeah,
and
when they
No
get together,
Pressure.
bro, it's
Yeah, so not No
magic.
ID, he's sliding. That's
He
it. No
does, he
ID.
does, he does. Uh, I will say "Care for Me" is still my favorite Saba album of all time. Like
Okay.
that project just in
Yeah.
2018, when I was making
Yeah.
my list, I said, "Yeah, Care for Me is literally number one right now." So that's that. But that being said, man, that's really all that I have for you today, bro. Once again,
Okay.
I appreciate you coming on to this episode, joining me, talking a little bit about the album and your creative process. I really cannot wait for this to drop and for people to actually hear what I heard twice now. So with that in mind, man, I just wanted to ask, were there any other like artists or any content creators or any business owners that you wanted to plug?
Yeah, I definitely I have to plug the guy who's doing my music video, Rob
Mhm.
Silver Visuals, man. He is excellent. 10 out of 10, based out of Baltimore. He is phenomenal. From what we've seen, just the raw shots that he's been doing. Him, his team, Adam and James, man, they made it such an easy process. This is my first music video ever, man. I have to tell you, they are professionals. They are so easy to work with. And like I'm so excited for what this is gonna look like when it's finished, man. So I gotta shout out Rob Silver Visuals, man. They're he's phenomenal. 10 out of 10 would recommend, and I will be working with him again in the future.
Hey, sounds good, man. I just put him up on IG. I'm about to follow him right now.
Yes, man, he's excellent. So, him and everything is. I'm drawing a blank right now. That's just the most recent thing in my head. I'm not terribly big on the socials and stuff, man. I be just
Right.
out here living life, and only I got to shout out the new Pokemon. Just cop that, John. So I got the Switch
Hey,
too. I've been shout out Pokemon ZA. Man, I think it's Pokemon Legends good, man. If you played the first Arceus, this one's feeling pretty good. I don't know. I'm still debating whether I think I might like the first one a little bit more, but let me finish this game first, and I'll see how I feel about it.
Hey, sounds good. I'm glad that you at least giving your honest feelings because for some strange reason that ZA's been getting review bombed, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, or if people were just looking to be negative just for being negative sake. Like you're trying to be a contrarian for contrarian's sake to get likes and clicks and to get views and whatnot. But I don't know what it is. That being said, I've seen gameplay for ZA, and I'm like I don't see what the problem is. So maybe I
Yeah.
just have to play it to experience, but I damn sure plan on playing. I don't have a Switch 2 yet, but I do have some friends to do. So I'm hopefully I can dive deep into that. So yeah, man, that's gonna be me in a little bit. But definitely looking forward to that game. Uh
So,
I'm trying to think, is there anything else? If not, man, once again, I appreciate you joining me. For those who don't know, this is where we do the rundown. And if you're not familiar with the rundown, obviously these are all the podcasts, these are all the artists, authors, content creators, and business owners that we shout out, whether they have supported this podcast or have been on this podcast. It's only fair that we do this. Got to add Fundy to the list because Fundy is an actual artist now, so he will be a part of this list. So for our podcast shout out, of course, big shout out to Inside the Mind of a Blur. That is the other home team that I am a part of. So big shout out to them. I have not been on an episode with them recently because of my job switching up my schedule. So, but still, we all talk about nerd shit. That is the place to go, as well as this podcast as well. But I gotta incorporate more black centric themes. So that in mind, also shout out to Worst Gen and Blanime podcast. They are all collectively known as Anime After Dark. I don't know if they're doing anything in DreamCon this next year, but definitely check them out as they are in their creative processes. Definitely shout out to the Truth and Transparency podcast. I'm not sure what's going on with them. I got to hit them up and find out if they're still podcasting or if they're just adulting because life is life. Big shout out to Rob, the father of Ash, in his podcast Dad Needs to Talk. Shout out to Geek Said Podcast, Anime Junkies 3 Weaves in a podcast. Shout out to those anime girls. Shout out to Black Geek Energy. They've been getting some bigger interviewers lately. So big shout out to them. I'm trying to follow in their footsteps, even though they following in mine. Anyway, big shout out to them, man. DeMarcus and Jardo have really been putting in a lot of work. So big shout out to them and much love to them. For our black authors, big shout out to Kay Renee, aka Sedona Rose. She's definitely got a lot of books. She has been working these conventions as well as an author. So be sure that you shout out to her. And a big shout out to Elena Graham, aka Elena, who also makes music as well. So big shout out to her for doing the damn thing, because being an author and being a musician, I mean, you're doing the damn thing, girl. So for our content creators, Off Black Mag with Aaron, big shout out to Cerberus Entertainment, Tatted Poodle, who is one of the biggest streamers I know. The Geechee Gamer, she actually just came back from ATL Anime Fest. I hope she had a wonderful time. Big shout out to Shelby with Simply Janine, Simply Baked, and Rosa's Traveled. Big shout out to Strange Keith with Idols to Icon, Toasty Marshmallow, and of course, big shout out to the Corner 5, Simone, Courtney 5, Kristen Sham. And of course, shout out to Scuba Steve and Alpha with Blur Mind Productions. And of course, for our black artists, we got NASA, Scoozy, Jack Union, Phil Me, Alice Quinn, RJ Stackhouse, Quarter, Tyrone Leak Jr., Ari Lachelle, Zach Hines, Elena again, Zainab, Imogen, and of course, Fundy has been added to that list. So
let's
you
go.
already know. For our black businesses, already paid by Dre, Freshness Righteous Mind by Timo, goodness gracious, talking too fast. KSS brand by Christina, Cream Cosmetics by Naima, Mind Over Money by Miss Tremaine, Studio Maho with Pat and Yin, She Designs 2 with Aaron, and of course Black Magic / Lit Wands with Lauren T. H4 created by Zenobia. A big shout out to Zenobia. She just got like one of the like official positions with her sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So big shout out to her. She's always doing big things. And Real Estate Stone by Meredith, Sold by Belmont Mariah, and A Scrappy Sentiment by Sappy. So with that, of course, Fundy, tell the world how people can listen to your project whenever it drops.
When it comes out, it's gonna be out on Halloween, 10/31. So it's going to be on everything. Literally, it's going to be the music video should be on YouTube. It should be on YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon Music, everywhere music is. If I'm missing one, shoot me a DM. I'm on Instagram at the Real Be Fun. That's BFUN, the Real Be Fun. And on Twitter as well, or I guess X, whatever. It's going to
Whatever.
be Twitter for me forever. So But yeah, it's going to be on everything, guys. Shoot me a DM if it's not on one of those a random streaming service that you use. I know definitely more out of the country they have different ones, so let me know. I'll talk to my distributor, figure it out. But all the major ones that we use, it's going to be everywhere. So I'm excited for you guys to listen to the project. Please, and let me know, and I'd love to talk to you guys. And we have some merch coming soon.
Hey, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Definitely let me know when the merch comes out. I will make sure to plaster it all over my social media websites and whatnot. Definitely looking forward to the album, man. And of course, I will be sure to post the link for the album whenever it drops on 10/31. Before I get out of here, that just reminded me. If you are available next Sunday, we are doing something music wise. I'll talk to you more as soon as this episode ends because I don't want to spoil it for the audience. But yeah,
Okay.
I'll be sure to hit you up to see what your schedule looks like to see if we can get you on. But anyway, for my audience, man, once again, thank y'all for joining us. Be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast on your favorite digital streaming platform, whether it be YouTube. If it's on YouTube, be sure that you like the video, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good shit. Please be sure that you subscribe to the Patreon once again for early access to the pod and for bonus content. That is patreon.com/Chaotic Culture Pod. Of course, you can subscribe for as low as $2. If you want to see this episode early, of course, you will have access to that. You could definitely follow us on Facebook at Chaotic Culture Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Chaotic Culture Pod. You can follow us on Twitter/X, whatever, at Chaotic Culture 1. You can follow us on Blue Sky at chaoticculture.bsky.social. You can follow me, Ket the Pro, that's K3D the Pro on all social media. Of course, you can follow my co-hosts on all their social media as well. Scuba Steve at 1428 on all social media. Sappy at Scraps14 on all social media. Jay at J Lee Trey on all social media. And of course, with Law, you can follow him on Instagram at L.JR_96 on Instagram and on Twitter at Law96_. And with that, this has been another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Thank you to my brother F.U.N.D.Y for once again joining us to talk about his album. We can't wait for the album to drop. And as for the rest of y'all already know what it is. Until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture. Chaos rules. Be blessed. Be safe. God is love. And we are out of here. Deuces.
Take care. Thank you, guys. Thank you, KJ.
So what's the word?
You are now tuned in to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. And